I grew up in Los Angeles, primarily in Inglewood, but my roots are in Venice, California. When I was younger, my family and I moved to Inglewood, but here's the interesting part. We didn't go to school there. Instead, we went to school in Santa Monica, and we weren't the only ones. Over 60% of the minority students in that school were commuting from communities just like mine. Even before that, we lived in Cheviot Hills and went to school just down the street. But after we moved to Inglewood, we never transferred to a local school. As a kid, I didn't question it. But now, as an adult, and especially as the owner of a tutoring business, Verdue Learning Center, I see exactly why that decision was made. I started asking, why didn't we ever go to school in our own neighborhood? The answers were honest. The kids were too rowdy. Those schools didn't have enough resources. You got more attention, better teachers, and more programs where you were. You dealt with less bullying. The classrooms weren't overcrowded. So now, as an education advocate, I find myself asking a different question. Why is this still true today? Why is it still normal for students in Inglewood to be bused to other schools in other communities just to get a quality education? Why does the idea of a good school still mean not in our neighborhood? This is what drives me. This is why I pour my energy into advocacy. Let me show you what educational inequity really looks like. Let's start with class size. In the inner city East and South Los Angeles, California schools, the classrooms are overcrowded, with more than 30 students squeezed into one space. Teachers juggle more students than they can intentionally support, and individualized learning becomes nearly impossible. But just down the 405 freeway are two schools, one in Laguna Beach and the other Beverly Hills, California. Their class sizes average around 11 students. That's less than half. And with that difference comes more attention, more support, and more opportunity to thrive. And it shows in the results. In both the inner city East and South Los Angeles schools mentioned, fewer than 35% of students meet California state standards in math and reading. In what's considered a more affluent area, Laguna Beach and Beverly Hills, scores range from 65 to 80%. These schools aren't just offering better results. They are offering a fundamentally different experience and excessive access to arts, STEM, tutoring, and enrichment programs. Support is built in. These schools are in California, but might as well be worlds apart. Why the difference? It comes down to how schools are funded. In this country, we fund schools through local property taxes. That means schools in wealthier neighborhoods automatically receive more funding, while schools in lower income areas, like parts of Inglewood, are left behind. This isn't just a glitch in the system. This is the system. And it didn't start yesterday. Court cases like Serrano versus Priest expose how unjust this funding model is. Brown versus the Board of Education reminds us that separate but equal is never truly equal. Segregation didn't disappear. It shifted from water fountains to zip codes. Even well-meaning laws like the Every Student Succeeds Act and the Local Control Funding Formula have struggled in practice. Their goals are equity, but the implementation often misses the mark. And unfunded mandates, They require struggling schools to meet specific requirements without providing the necessary resources to attain them. We praise these schools for being resilient, right? But no child should have to be resilient just to learn. Let me say that again. No child should have to be resilient just to learn. Advocacy is the intentional energy that challenges injustice. It's the kind of energy that turns quiet frustration into public momentum, into action, and into change. And yes, we've seen this work. Not long ago in Chicago, a group of parents came together after realizing that millions of dollars that were meant for their children's schools were being diverted elsewhere. These weren't politicians or attorneys. They were parents. And yet they organized, took the school district to court, and won. The result? Millions in funding were redirected back into primarily Black and Latino schools. In Los Angeles, when school closures started occurring in underserved neighborhoods, it did not go unnoticed. Community members organized, showed up at school board meetings, circulated petitions, knocked on doors, and refused to be silenced. And because of their efforts, some schools stayed open and continued serving students who needed them the most. And here in California, statewide advocacy led to the local control funding formula, a major policy shift which now requires more resources to be given to schools with the highest need. This didn't happen because communities got angry. It happened because they got organized. But here's the thing. Advocacy doesn't only have to happen in courtrooms or Capitol buildings. It happens when parents ask questions at board meetings. It happens when teachers challenge how curriculum is being delivered. It happens when students go to college to earn degrees and return as change makers. It happens when people like me open businesses like Verdue Learning Center to interrupt the cycle that keeps repeating in our neighborhood. Advocacy is also about awareness, because silence helps no one. The digital divide, we saw it explode during the pandemic. Some students had Wi-Fi, electronic devices, and online support. Others did not, and we still expected them to show up. The digital divide wasn't born in 2020. It was finally exposed. Advocacy is not a trend. It requires you to speak up, even when it's inconvenient. It is a lifestyle rooted in hope, determination, and truth. So, here's my invitation to you. Use your energy intentionally. Speak out, step up, and lean into the uncomfortable truths. Because when we do that, when we pour our energy into advocacy, we don't just change policy, we change futures. We don't just change education, we redefine it. Thank you.